Previously, we have completed a few single and series vulnerable boxes. If you have not yet watched them, then click the I button now to find them all. So, today we are going to tackle a series called Empire. Empire LupinOne is a vulnerable machine with difficulty level medium machine designed by ISEX64 and Empire Cybersecurity. Firstly, we have to download the zip file from vulnhub. On completion, we have to extract the file. Now, open VirtualBox and then click on New. Now fill in the name, type, and version. Now, browse the VMDK file from the extracted directory. On completion, check if the network adapter is set to host-only adapter or not. Once you are done with the settings up, let's start the instance VMs. Now, the instance is ready, and we have got a terminal screen that prompts us to input the password. Enumeration. Our first step is to find out the target IP address using NetDiscover. From the scanning, we have discovered our target IP address, which is 192.168.56.107. We have discovered the IP address, so let's perform a network scan to detect what ports are open is already known as an essential part of the enumeration process. This offers us the opportunity to better understand the attacking surface and design targeted attacks. As in most cases, we are going to use the famous Nmap tool, where -sc is used to perform a script scan using the default set of scripts, and -sv is used to enable version detection, which will detect what versions are running on what port. From the Nmap output, we have spotted two open ports. Port 22 TCP running an SSH service, which means that if we have a valid username and password, then we'll be easily access the log into the server. Port 80 TCP runs an HTTP service, which indicates that there might be a website running. If you take a look at the below script, you will find out that there is a robots.txt file disallowing a directory called My Files on the web server. Let's look at the contents ourselves. We can open a web browser of our choice and navigate to the target's IP address in the URL bar at the top of the window. If you take a look at the robots.txt file, you can spot a file that disallowing from being crawling. Let's visit this file. We began the enumeration procedure by inspecting the ~myfiles HTTP page. From the output, we have discovered an error 404, which seems suspicious. In the older version of the Apache server, the symbol was used to refer to the home directory of a user. However, this is not the case for newer versions. But we can try to find out similar paths starting with the symbol. Let's take a look at the page source code to find a clue to foothold the instance. Foothold. Let's find out the hidden directories and files on the web server that can also be categorized under fuzzing. The tool we are going to use is FFUF, a fast web fuzzer. FFUF does not come pre-installed with Kali Linux, so we have to install them separately. Let's perform fuzzing to find out hidden files and directories. Where -c is used to colorize the output, -u is used to set the target URL, and -w are used to set the word list file path. Why has it been so late? Oh. I have not yet switched my network adapter to the host-only adapter. The scan results identified secret as a valid directory name from the server. So let us open this directory in the browser. The page contained 3 major hints for the machine. The first hint is that there is a hidden file for the SSH private key. Secondly, we have a word list that will help us to crack the SSH hashes. In the end, the hint also talks about the best friend. This is possibly a username. So, our first task is to find out the hidden file which contains the SSH key. To find the secret private SSH key, we again use fuzzing with the help of FFUF once more, where we are going to use 3 new parameters. -IC is used to ignoring word list comments. -FC is used to filter HTTP status codes from the response. -E is used to specify the list of extensions. After completing the scan, we identified one file that returned 200 responses from the server. So, let us open that file on the browser. When we open the file on the browser, it will redirect us to a new page that might contain some encoded message. We need to figure out the encryption type to decrypt the actual SSH key. Visit CyberChef by searching on Google. Paste the encrypted message here. Now drag and drop data format till we find out the SSH encryption key. The string was successfully decoded without any errors. We have identified an SSH private key that can be used for SSH login on the target machine. First, let us save the key into the file using the nano text editor. Since the author has shared some hints related to the passphrase for SSH key, thus we are going to use SSH2John to obtain the hash value of the SSH key. SSH2John does not come pre-installed with Kali Linux, so we have to install it. Now run John the Ripper to crack the hash value. From the output, we obtained a password. Now we have a username and password. Let's perform a secure shell connection to enable secure remote connections using the usernames and the relevant passwords. We successfully authenticated and got a secure shell. As it's depicted now, we have accessed the user ICEX64. Next, run the ls command to list the files and the directory's contents. As a result, we found the user.txt. Open this using the cat command. Since this is not the root user, let's identify further information about the target machine, which could be useful for gaining root access. Privilege Escalation. Let's identify the rights and privileges of the current user by executing the sudo-l command. After analyzing the output, we confirm that the running Python script may be vulnerable to the Python library hijacking approach. You find out more about this vulnerability by searching on Google. Let's take a look at the contents of the Python script. After analyzing the script, we found a piece of important information. If we execute this Python script, it will call the web browser library and display the URL on the browser interface. What if we inject the bash shell script, and again execute the program to escalate the privilege? So, we have to find out the location of the library using locate command. The locate command does not work, so I have to run a program linps.sh to search for possible paths to escalate privileges on Linux or Unix targets. Previously, we downloaded the linps.sh script from GitHub. Now, navigate to the directory and launch a basic Python HTTP server. Now, switch to the ICEX64 terminal and change the directory to the TMP directory. Now imported the linps.sh script from the Kali Linux using the wget function. Grant executable permission using chmod and execute the program. From the output, we have obtained the location of the Python library of webbrowser.py. We will now begin our Python library hijacking procedure. You will list the detail of the library if we could change the read and write permission using ls-al. Now open the Python script using the nano command to edit the script. Now at os.system/bin/bash to call the /bin/bash. After analyzing, I found one important piece of information, that the user ICEX64 does not have any authorization to escalate the privilege. So we have to switch to the user rsyn by executing the modified Python script. Let's execute the Python script to switch the user to rsyn. On successful execution, we successfully switched the user from ICEX64 to rsyn. Now identify the rights and privileges of the current user rsyn by executing the sudo-l command. After analyzing the output, we spotted a new vulnerability that will help us to escalate the privilege. This is known as PIP Privilege Escalation. You will find out detailed information by searching on Google. Scroll to find out the root binary. Copy each of them and paste them to the terminal one by one to get the root shell. Finally, we have the root shell and verify using the id command. It has been proven that it is the root. Simply change the directory to the root path to obtain the root flag. Congratulations on completion of the CTF challenge. If you have any doubts or queries, then write me a comment in my comment section.